And that's okay. It's all right to change. Sometimes change is good.
Is this what we get before the hearing? Is this what the information's
Oh,
on? Is there police reports with it, or?
Most towns,
The referral sheet?
most towns provide a police report also. Because not that you're gonna, it's not that it's the Inquisition, you're not gonna have the kid up there and, give him the third degree, but you're gonna ask him questions and you wanna know what the truth is, and sometimes you've got the police report and you've got their version of it, which is totally different. What I found out in my experience is that usually there's 3 sides to every story, so, so you're gonna see that there's...
I learned from an old rock and roll song.
So, okay. So that's just your referral form. Like I said, a lot of these forms you can take them, adapt them, change them to whatever you need to change them to.
This one.
Yeah.
Ron, what's the youngest case you ever? Yeah.
Usually it's 10 years old.
No, I mean, what's the young? Do you know the youngest case ever?
What do you mean the youngest?
You, 6 years old, 5 years old?
It was 8 years old, I think. It was an 8-year-old, but that was a very extenuating circumstance. And what happened was, and just so you understand too, I'm going to digress a little bit. The only charges or the only offenses that can be heard here at the hearing board level are wayward, disobedient, which if there were adult charges would be misdemeanor charges. The only felonies or delinquent charges cannot be heard at the hearing board level. The only way they can be heard at the hearing board level is if they get written permission from the chief judge of the family court. So basically what happened was, I think it was a Portsmouth case, where an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old went into the barn and they accidentally burnt it down, lighting fire. After the police investigated, they saw that there was a need for this child to attend the fire marshal fire setters program over at Quonset. So to get him into that program, they needed a little bit of fees, so what they did is they charged him.
So they're bringing the case down.
So what happened was they wrote a letter to me asking permission to have the case heard at the hearing board level. I brought it before our chief. He reviewed it, and the police report and the letter, he signed off on it. I sent him a letter back saying hear it at the hearing board. So if you have a case like that, it happens. Sometimes the cases are waived back to the hearing board.
Can parents go directly, let's say an incorrigible child, can they go directly to the hearing board, or do they have to go through the police?
What do you mean by disobedient, not obeying house rules and house laws?
Sounds like a kind of a wayward disobedience.
Yeah, that's one of those, yeah.
Like a chins thing, maybe?
Well, yeah, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's
Massachusetts. In the Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Like if you have a kid that, will say a freshman or sophomore that's defying home rules and, curfews or whatever, and the parents are there within, instead of calling the police on them, can they go directly to the police? No, okay.
No, there has to be some type of, there's going to be some type of, well, because what happens to the child if he comes before you and it falls apart and it becomes a disaster?
Yeah, okay.
You have no recourse
Okay.
because where you're going to send the
But
child.
also could get out of hand, parents think that they could bypass.
Right.
The chins is more like a dependency petition for the child's in the service.
It's different it's a different thing in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But the alcohol cases, do they still have to be heard at family court?
No.
That was
decided, yeah. That was decided.
So if we have a couple of possessions of alcohol, that's something we can handle at our level.
Yes. Yeah.
What about possession of marijuana?
You can, is it, I haven't seen your ordinance. Is it in the ordinance that you can hear?
We're not to do
I was under the impression
alcohol
alcohol and drugs are not here.
I'm not heard it, well, other boards here, I'm just
Well,
saying.
So we could even get that amended.
I think that's great.
Correct.
Yeah.
That stems from.
I'm not sure, I don't remember what the group does it.
That's part of the process, probably.
I know some boards do.
I think that it should be able to handle.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you have it handy?
I thought that the chief judge had made that decision.
It says that we can't do assaults or bad assaults, which would be misdemeanor, so I don't know why that's in there, but anybody who's twice previously been referred to juvenile hearing board.
What happened with that was that request that we had made earlier, that all alcohol-related offenses go to family court, that was heard, there was a statute that was placed, that was put on before the House and Senate, and it did not pass. So, it did not pass, so it was up to the discretion of the police chief.
Is marijuana under that same thing too?
Well, there's no marijuana charges that are heard hearing
In
was.
hearing was on.
If you can hear it, if your chief, like I said, it's up to the discretion of the chief or his designee, whoever's going to be his prosecution officer. If he feels comfortable but what we were concerned about at the hearing board, I mean at the state level, at family court, when this whole thing arose, was that there were some hearing boards that were doing a fantastic job, and what they were doing is they were getting the kids enrolled in programs that were addressing the alcohol or the drug use. The kids were getting tested, they were going for counseling, they were doing all the right things, and that wasn't the problem that we had. We had problems that with boards out there that were giving kids 20 hours of community service, which is laughable. Like I said, the main thing that we look for is that the underlying problem is addressed, and the problem that's addressed is not always, like I said, I go out and I break a mailbox. Why did I break the mailbox? It's maybe because I have other issues that, you know, as a retired police officer, I knew that most of the disorderly conducts that I arrested people for would do, not because of their behavior when they were sober, it was because of their behavior when they were drunk. And that was a charge that they were charged with, disorderly conduct. You're going to find out that a lot of assaults and a lot of disorderly conducts are going to be alcohol and drug related. And what we would hope that would happen is that you would address the alcohol and drug issue, not the disorderly conduct, you know?
Well, given the
Just-
composition of our
Just so we
board, I mean,
understand, the waiver is, that's
certainly
done with
equipped.
the police?
My neighbor is done with the police.
Before he
What will
comes to
happen
us.
is before he comes to you. So what's going to happen is
Waiver's
he's
still-
going to meet with either a coordinator, if you have one, or the prosecution officer here at the police station. He's going to sign his waiver, and then that what he's going to do is, then what's going to happen is, then it's going to be placed on the
So that
docket.
question again.
It's going to be placed on the docket to be heard as quickly as possible, because time is of the, that's what's the nice thing about the hearing boards. If they're done right, the child can usually get in very, very quickly. And as everyone knows, you being a teacher, you would know that the discipline, if it's swift and gets in quick, it does a lot more for the kids than if they have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get to family court to have a case.
Hitting when a family's in crisis is the best.
You want to get those kids in as fast as you can.
You can make more sense out of it.
And the referral sheet will be given to us by the police
By the police
also.
department, hopefully with the police report.
And the police report.
What some boards do is they have a shredder in their room, and at the end of the thing, they shred the reports up so that they're not laying all over the place. Like I said, these are all internal things that you guys will figure out. And you're probably, if you go and see Middletown's board and see Newport or whatever, you go, if you're going to see some other boards, you're going to see how they do stuff. And they've been around for a while, and they're very, very, very good board.
If we wanted the names of contact people for other boards, can we get them from you?
Yeah, I can get them for you.
If we wanted
You
to
can
go
just
and
send
peek
it.
at Coventry or peek at Johnston?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Johnston, Smithfield, Tri-Town, they run a lot of different boards. They run the Johnston, Smithfield, they run the Foster, Gloucester, Situate. They're going to be running the new North Providence board. They have a little bit of trouble right now because of all the stuff that went on in North Providence, having enough council members to appoint the people, but that should be rectified. But they've worked very, very hard, and they're very, very diligent as to what they do. Jeannie Vickers, who oversees a lot of these, she's really, really a great person to contact. At Tri-Town, if you need any information, she's very, very helpful. She'll do anything for you. As a matter of fact, she's the one who supplied all these forms for me.